Top 9 Best Dragon Movies of All Time, a must-watch for swords and sorcery fans. Once upon a time, dragons were an element of fantasy. Dangerous and vicious creatures in books and movies. Inserting a fire-breathing dragon in a movie considerably raises its entertainment value. Dragons are powerful and magical dinosaur-like creatures that enhance the thrill of fantasy by several notches. In this video, we will talk about 9 films in which a dragon is the heart and soul of the story.
Before we go into our list, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click from you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's begin.
Dragon Slayer, 1981. Dragon Slayer is a 1981 American dark fantasy film directed by Matthew Robbins. Its plot centers around a king who made a pact with a dragon to sacrifice virgins to him, if he promises to leave his kingdom be. An old wizard and his apprentice soon volunteer to slay this dragon and rescue the girl who is to be sacrificed next, the king's own daughter. This joint production between Paramount Pictures and Disney initially appeared as a slight shock to viewers since it included content more mature than the usual lighthearted children's entertainment that Disney portrayed. The violence, adult themes, and brief nudity stirred up a bit of controversy at the time, even though Disney did not hold the distribution rights in the United States. Nevertheless, it was an excellently directed film with top-notch production value. Its remarkable special effects identified it as the best ever use of celluloid animation. Viewers were highly impressed with the cast performance, mainly Sir Ralph Richardson as the wizard Ulrich, and the movie's camera work, which was credited for the use of widescreen composition. Finally, with breathtaking cinematography, this film reached out to several fantasy buffs as their favorite 80s film. Interestingly, the fire of the dragon was executed with military-grade flamethrowers. Reign of Fire, 2002. This is a 2002 dystopian post-apocalyptic science fantasy film directed by Rob Bowman. It has an all-star cast of Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale, and Gerard Butler. Its premise lies in present-day England, 20 years after the London tunneling project workers unintentionally awakened dragons from its centuries of slumber. Subsequently, the creatures replace human beings as the dominant species on Earth, and the fate of mankind lies at stake. 2 surviving parties, the first led by Quinn Abercrombie and the other by Denton Van Zandt, decide to work together to destroy and slay the dragons so that they can reclaim the world for the human race. This movie is a sturdy blend of medieval mythology and modernity, which portrays the human struggle of survival after being knocked off the top of the food chain. Viewers appreciate this film for its straightforward portrayal of a humans versus dragons plot. There is no unwarranted humor or special effects. Moreover, before people watch this film, they often mistake it to be centrally about dragons and forget about the human struggle, which is a more dominant theme of the story. The post-apocalyptic set doesn't make it the most aesthetically pleasing, but it still contains good performances and an inspiring story. One of the main reasons for the success and positive reception of the film was due to Bowman's comfort and familiarity with this kind of subject matter. George and the Dragon, 2004. Also known as Dragon Sword, George and the Dragon is a 2004 historical fantasy film which is loosely based on the legend of St. George and the Dragon. It's set in medieval England. After the end of the First Crusade to free the Holy Land, a cluster of exhausted knights, squires, soldiers, and priests are on their way home across Europe, which was drastically changed. When George wishes to settle down and lead a peaceful life, he discovers that King Edgar is in a terrible condition due to his daughter's disappearance. Soon, George sets off to find the princess with Elmendorf in exchange for a small plot of land from the king. This movie is first and foremost appreciated for its cinematography, which is a sight for sore eyes. However, not many people had the pleasure of viewing it until much later because of the distribution problems that it experienced. It contains serious, heartfelt drama which is enjoyable for both children and adults, and great performances by the cast. It received quite a bit of criticism for its CGI, which was not up to the mark for a film created in 2004, and its dialogues, which were too cheesy. The characters had good chemistry with one another, and although it was a decent mix between legend and farce, it was the right combination of a playful yet serious story.
Come on, dragon. Yes! Oh!
Dragonheart, 1996. This British-American fantasy action-adventure film is a masterpiece by Rob Cohen. It contains an ensemble cast of Dennis Quaid, David Thewlis, and Sean Connery, and was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. A young king, Einan, is wounded in battle and healed by Draco, a dragon. A few years later, a dragon slayer encounters Draco, and the two team up to perform an act for the public, which is only known to them. In the act, Bowen slays Draco and collects a reward from the town or village that he saves from the dragon. Soon the duo discovers that they have to save the kingdom from Einan, who is now evil. Dragonheart is a film known for its uplifting impact on viewers. Needless to say, this paragon of visual effects and cinematography has the ability to make even the sturdiest of people emotional, with the performance from its A-list cast and heartfelt storyline. Besides, it is a textbook example of soundtrack being optimally used to enhance its plot and emotional impact. This film also received a menial amount of criticism for its lack of realism in portraying a dragon's ability to walk on two legs. However, for those who recognize the escapism of it all, the idea of a retreat into a fantastical, fictitious world was what drove most people to fall in love with this film. Many film connoisseurs have claimed that one cannot truly absorb it without being able to comprehend the distinctions and boundaries it portrays between fantasy and reality. Few people notice that Draco breathes fire only through his nostrils and never from his mouth throughout the movie.
Eragon! It's you they want!
Take me down!
You're in danger!
Eragon, 2006. Eragon is an action fantasy film and director Stephen Fangmeyer's debut. Based on Christopher Paolini's 2002 novel of the same name. Its plot revolves around King Galbatorix, a former dragon rider who betrayed his mates and subjects in his quest for power and ruling the kingdom of Alagasia. An orphan farmer boy named Eragon finds a blue stone sent by the princess and realizes that it is a dragon egg. After the dragon Saphira is born, Eragon becomes a dragon rider as part of a prophecy that claims he will set the people of Alagasia free from Galbatorix. Surprisingly, the film received considerable backlash for not being faithful to the novel. Although some viewers appreciated its visual effects and cinematography, their major complaints revolved around the lack of skillful storytelling. The performance of the actors was also criticized, and its timeless message was lost in the adaptation. The story's format of being narrated as exposition did not provide viewers with the entire tale and left several plot holes. Its descriptive nature rather than a portrayal of the events also did not bode well. Finally, the characters have all been left static without any emotional depth or character development. Most of the recurring themes in the novel, like friendship, tolerance, and justice, were also not conveyed in the film. Fun fact, Eragon is known for being the last film to be released on VHS in the United States. Pete's Dragon, 1977. This 1977 American live-action animated musical fantasy comedy directed by Don Chaffee is based on the unpublished story Pete's Dragon and the USA Forever After by S.S. Field. It portrays a 9-year-old orphan named Pete in the early 20th century, who escapes his abusive adopted parents with his friend, a cartoon dragon named Elliot. They escape to Passamaquoddy and begin living with a lighthouse keeper, Nora, and her father, Lampy. However, Dr. Terminus, a corrupt man, is hunting Elliot for medical purposes. This is an enchanting story with a wonderful combination of animation and live action, despite the dragon being the only animated character. It contains plenty of beautiful cinematography and lovable, dynamic characters. It is an underrated film despite its occasional cheesy dialogues. Although the initial plot slightly strays, it still succeeds in portraying interesting sequences and proves to be highly entertaining even for adults. Moreover, it is a top-notch musical with very enjoyable choreography. It is a common misconception among viewers that every Disney movie has its specific marker which helps them identify it, but this movie had no such thing. In fact, the orphan running away from abusive parents to an even more abusive world trope was appreciated by many for adding a hint of realism within the film. This happens to be the first Disney movie to be recorded in the Dolby Stereo system, which was just released then.
Whoa, what is it?
How to Train Your Dragon, 2010. This is a 2010 American computer animated action fantasy film based loosely on the 2003 children's book by British author Cressida Cowell. It was produced by DreamWorks Animation and distributed by Paramount Pictures. The story is set in a mythical Viking world where a Viking teenager, Hiccup, aspires to follow in the footsteps of his tribe and become a dragon slayer. When he finally captures a Night Fury, his first dragon, and has one last chance of being accepted by the tribe, he realizes that he doesn't want to kill the dragon. Instead, he befriends it. This animated masterpiece is highly praised by viewers for being one of DreamWorks' best animated feature films. Its script is very well written and has dramatic depth that both children and adults enjoy. Viewers who have read the book were initially skeptical after watching Eragon, but were relieved to watch a movie that was executed better than the book. It contains colorful characters and remarkably animated expressions and emotions. Additionally, the dialogues fit just right. Although some viewers felt that the action-packed film with a cute central character trope was a bit overplayed, they agreed that How to Train Your Dragon stands out for several reasons. Firstly, the convention of 3D being used in high street cinema was portrayed more efficiently in this film. Its pace was also comfortable so that viewers didn't think it was fast-paced or a slow burn, and it had a wonderful music score. It is evident that a lot of thought and effort has been put into making this commercial success.
A dragon! I'm riding!
The Flight of Dragons, 1982. The Flight of Dragons is a 1982 animated fantasy film produced and directed by Jules Bass and Arthur Rankin Jr. It is an adaptation that loosely combines the speculative nature history book of the same name by Peter Dickinson with the novel The Dragon and the George by Gordon R. Dickson. Its premise centers around the realm of magic being threatened by the realm of logic. So Carolinus, the Green Wizard, shields it forever. When Omadon, the evil Red Wizard, opposes him, Carolinus arranges a quest to be led by Peter Dickinson, the first man from both realms, science and magic. Most viewers have described this film to be the most profound experience with well-paced action, intelligent dialogues, and a realistic plot. It also has a heartwarming ending. Moreover, it is a movie suitable for both children and adults, where the kids are fascinated by the storyline and incredible animation, and the adults enjoy the science and aeronautics-based jokes. It portrays an unusual connection between science and the spirit, which are usually considered to be opposing forces. Additionally, it contains an unlikely cast of voice actors including Larry Storch, Henry Morgan, and John Ritter. Being a film made in the 80s, it was highly praised for its animation since most attempts at the time were either clearly unrealistic or laughable. It is anything unlike the stereotypical hack-and-slash film that the 80s were known for. However, it didn't have a theatrical release until 1986, being only available on direct-to-video before that.
Sorry.
The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, 2013. This movie is a 2013 epic high fantasy adventure film directed by Peter Jackson. It is the second installment in the three-part series based on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. It portrays Thorin and company, who after successfully crossing over the Misty Mountains, seek aid from a powerful stranger before facing the dangers of Mirkwood Forest without their wizard. If Bilbo Baggins reaches the human settlement of Laketown, he will have to fulfill his contract with the dwarves. The party must complete their journey to Lonely Mountain, and Bilbo must seek out the secret door that gives them access to the hoard of Dragon Smaug. Meanwhile, where is Gandalf? And what is he hiding? As far as fantasy movies go, this along with the Lord of the Rings franchise is pretty much the benchmark. This second installment in the Hobbit franchise improves on everything that the previous film could not portray. However, viewers expressed criticism for this film for a few reasons. The change of setting towards the ending did not suit the climax, and the screenplay strayed too far from the novel. It is important to keep in mind, though, that these details only bother viewers if they have read the book before. Otherwise, the film is an outstanding wonder that exhibits beautiful cinematography and good costumes and makeup. Critics often forget that this is not simply Tolkien's adaptation, but also Jackson's work, and the two should be appreciated as independent works and not criticized based on the aspects of the book that the movie didn't draw from. Viewers will be able to identify the brilliance of this film with its fantastic direction, action, and of course, the dragon. Interestingly enough, Orlando Bloom performed his own stunts for the film.
This is all the time we had for today's episode. We hope you guys liked it. It would be awesome if you guys can take some time to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tell us which topic you want us to cover in the comment section. Have a fantastic day ahead and stay safe.